just wanted to do a couple of quick housekeeping items. The restrooms are out the door. There's a door in the back and a door over here on my right. Out the door to your left. So if you need to use the restroom, it's out the door to your left. If you didn't get an opportunity to check in, make sure you do that before you leave today, because we want to make sure that we know who was here and have an accurate count. The other thing is there's some really neat items here on your table, so make sure you take these with you because these are for you. And if there's some items missing and some spots open, go ahead and grab that. All right, so now we're gonna go.
Come over there.
Sorry, I'm used to walking around the room and engaging. I'm sorry, I'm not used to standing in front of the camera. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I want to introduce Dr. Jackie Blakely and Mr. Brian Smith to do our welcome part of our agenda. Give them a round of applause.
Good afternoon. I'm really excited, so I may lose it a little bit, but I just wanted to welcome you all here to Tri-County Technical College. We're really excited for you to attend our 3rd annual Men of Color Luncheon. This is something that we dreamed about, and it's coming to fruition, and we're really excited about it. Our president regrets that he cannot attend today. He's attending a conference with our commission, but he fully supports this event. And we tried to change it a couple times to see if he could be here, but he said, just go ahead. It's important enough. We need to continue to schedule it. So we really appreciate his support for this event. At Tri-County, we like to reach out to students. We like to reach out to the community and individuals. And we have a place for you here if you're looking for a place to get your education. We have a lot of different programs. We have degrees offered so that you can transfer for your institutions, but we also have a lot of 2-year degrees where you can come and then go get a job immediately after graduation. So we would love to have you. If you have some questions more about Tri-County, just please let us know. And I would like to introduce Mr. Brian Smith, who will tell you more about, he will welcome you a little bit more and tell you more about our conference and our luncheon for today.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
You gotta hold it right in front of you. They can't hear you online.
Yeah.
I'm not accustomed to using microphones. I believe in projecting my voice. So, but since John instructed me that I had to use a microphone, I will do so.
Even on the poster, seriously.
That too.
I'm not being.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good. So again, welcome and thank you all for coming to our 3rd annual Men of Color Luncheon. We are extremely honored to have you all here. We have Tri-County Technical College students. We have men and women students from our different school districts in our service area, and it is truly, truly an honor to have you all here. Again, we want to thank you. If you have questions, feel free, please feel free to ask, reach out to myself or other members of the committee, Dr. Lanika Mussolini, Travis Durham, Dr. Jackie Blakely, myself, Brian Smith. We're missing a couple, August Johnson. And again, the genesis of this program with the foresight of Dr. Jackie Blakely and our student outreach programs was to ensure that we had tangible hands on the men and women, young men and women of color in the service areas of Tri-County Technical College. I could run the gamut of statistics for you relative to the success rates for that particular demographic, but I don't want to overwhelm you with the numbers. But what I will tell you is that statistically speaking, only 27% of you not only graduate from college, but will actually attend college. And out of that 27% of you that attend college, roughly 37% of that 27% will graduate. And it's our aim to ensure that you have the tools necessary, whether you come here to Tri-County Technical College or not, we hope that you will, but whether you come here or not, that you have the tools to be successful wherever it is you decide to go. I've heard forever and a day that education is the passport and the key to the future. I truly, truly believe that. So again, it is our aim to make sure that you have not only the tools, but that you have contacts, that people you can reach out to, both here in your subsequent careers, Tri-County Tech, that's a plug, Tri-County Technical College, or wherever you go. We also have a mentoring program as a part of this initiative that we meet with men and women throughout the month. We have different topics that we discuss. Last month, we had our chief of police, Marcus Guest. He's sitting right over there. He sat down with the students and talked about interaction with police, something that has been a topic of conversation in our communities for not just the last couple of years, for years. So there are many, many different topics that we cover. We cover mental illness. We cover bullying. We cover single parenthood, both father and mother. We cover education. And again, we had Giovanna Burgess here a few months ago, which is a very well-renowned speaker. She's in Africa right now speaking, and she was here talking about mental illness. So again, it is our aim to make sure that you have the tools you need to be successful. What we're going to do now is I'm going to pray for the food, and we're going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to enjoy your lunch. Talk amongst yourselves. Be merry, be happy. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I want to thank the Restoration Project Foundation as our lunch sponsor and one of our key sponsors for this event. The event could not be possible without our sponsors. I want to thank in advance our keynote speaker, which I'll introduce in a minute. It's Milan Richard. Him and his lovely wife, Haley, and their beautiful daughter, Milo, are sitting right over there at this table. Again, I'm going to pray for the food, and we're going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to eat. I'm going to come before you again to introduce my friend, Milan Richard, who's going to speak to you. He is an exceptionally brilliant young man. He has some good stuff to talk about today. I'm honored to call him friend. So let us pray. Father God, we thank you, and we thank you for this event. We ask first and foremost that no hurt, harm, or danger befall anyone that is coming to or leaving this event. We thank you for just allowing us to commune first with you and second with each other, that something said or done here today may affect someone's life, that they make the decision to further their education, and ultimately we'll all be better for it, and most importantly, you'll get the praise, the glory, and the honor. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Yes, ma'am. Okay. At the table in the back, there is water on your tables. At the table in the back, there is tea, both sweet and unsweet.
I know, right? Yeah, the people are not really
We sit on stage right
I didn't put it up by the number. Max is like, so those are some of my son's medical from the Rhino. They're amazing. I've known Mr. Von Pepper since I moved here, and he always makes sure our kids are involved in something. So whenever the Rhino group came out, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Can I hook you up? I'm gonna eat, but I don't want to eat too much and then have dirty hands. Snack it. What is your background? You want beetle?
We just look around the room and right home now.
We'll see you guys here.
That's a big one. Makes sense. How's your daughter doing? Yeah. The other one is over there? So, do you yeah. All I had to get was your keyboard. This one, that one, this, and that. Oh, I thought that was all together. Just unwrapped. Okay. I thought you said that was good. I knew something was wrong. Okay. And is this stuff gonna go in the studio? Okay. That's why I was like, let me ask. I'll put it in the work session.
He said it's done.
Yes, that is yours. It'd be hard to set up on screen.
Check 1, 2.
Good afternoon again. If you are not finished eating, by all means, finish. Feel free to continue eating. I just wanted to handle a couple of other things before I proceed with introducing Milan. We have some of our distinguished guests here today, excuse me, that I'd like to take an opportunity to recognize. A member of our foundation board, just happens to be a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, is in the back, Dr. Teddy Martin. We have members of our Board of Visitors here, Mayor Robert Halfis, City of Clemson. Halface. My apologies, sir. Halface, City of Clemson. Caleb Allen. Luis Martinez. Courtney Burgess, I don't know if Courtney made it in yet, but he is on the way. Manus Caldwell. And there's also a number of our distinguished faculty and staff here today. Too many for me to name them all, but we certainly thank you for your support as well. To introduce Milan. I met Milan a few years back on a chance meeting on a golf course. We actually, I was coming in, he was going out, one or two, I don't remember exactly. But I believe that there is no such thing as happenstance. I don't think things happen by chance. Subsequently, him and I had several conversations after, and we both agreed that God puts people in people's lives for a reason. As I said earlier, he is a brilliant, brilliant young man, and I am truly honored to call him friend. Milo Richard is a native of Savannah, Georgia, a devoted father, husband, aspiring business owner. Milo received an athletic scholarship to attend Clemson University, where he was a part of 4 ACC championships and 2 national championships. Milan comes from a family with very deep athletic roots. Milan's father, Bill, and his mother, Veronica, were All-Americans as members of the track team at the University of Georgia, and his uncle, Herschel Walker, University of Georgia as well, is the 1982 Heisman Trophy winner. Milan graduated from Clemson in 2017 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication and a Master's degree in Human Resources in 2019. Milan is also a 2-time ACC Honor Roll selectee and a former recipient of Clemson's Paul Journeyman of the Year Award. Milan and his wife Haley now reside in Pendleton, South Carolina, along with their beautiful daughter Mila, who is here. And Milan and his wife are expecting their second child, a boy, very, very soon. So we are certainly praying for you and your family. And without further ado, I introduce to you my friend, Milan Richard.
Good afternoon, how's everybody? Good, y'all gonna have to talk to me because I'm one of those people that I don't like to talk at people. And I'm sorry because I'm probably gonna move around a lot.
There are people watching.
Okay, so I need to stay stationary. I'm sorry, we fight the same struggles,
Pick
Brian.
a square, pick a square. You
Pick a square,
You
okay.
can square around.
I'm gonna be up here today because I got some notes on my iPad and I don't wanna leave anything out. First off, thank y'all for having me. I love the opportunity to impact other people. It's something that I'm truly passionate about, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but I know you guys, thank you, Milo. I know you guys have a theme for this Man of Color event, and Brian was telling me it's called FAME. He said it's financial, academic, mentally, and emotionally. And so I'm gonna try to unpack some of those today through my experiences at Clemson and my experiences in the real world, and being a father and a husband, because that plays into it too. So I'm gonna start with academic. When I was at Clemson, the whole student athlete, I didn't really understand it until I got to college. Because in high school, it's a little bit different. You go to high school, your teachers are your coaches, and you can kind of just, okay, this is my coach. If it's Friday and we got a game, I'm not worried about doing schoolwork in class. We're probably gonna watch a movie that day. That's just kind of how it went when you were in high school. And you get to college, and they say, okay, well, here are all of your study hall hours. You've got these tests, you've got these papers, you got to meet with this professor. But at the same time, you got to come to practice, you got to watch film, you got to get treatment, you got to eat right, you got to do all of this stuff, right? They hand you this schedule, and they say, okay, this is your week. And I was kind of blown away at first. I'm like, what do you mean? You handed me a schedule. Like I've never been on this rigorous type time structure schedule. And everybody before I got to college was telling me about how I was gonna have to learn how to manage my time. I'm like, they managing my time for me. I'm not managing nothing. They telling me what to do and where to be at, right? So, but the biggest thing I learned with the student athlete is time management. Because there still was a little bit of time that I had to manage myself. I had a little bit of personal time that I had to manage, and I had to choose how I was going to spend it. And so to all my athletes, I know we got some athletes in the room, to all of my athletes, understand that now. Understand that time management is key, and it's a great skill for you to start fine-tuning now. Because if you're lucky enough to play at the next level, it's going to be tested. And so if you can prepare for that now, it's going to help you, and it's a transferable skill that's going to propel you in the real world one day once you get into the working world. Because everybody's not going to play in the league. I'm an example. I had league goals since I was very young, and that's something that I'll get into later as well. I think another key part about the academic piece that I want to talk about is your network. Networking is a term that I think a lot of people truly have wrong. I think especially a lot of the younger people, and I want to say younger generation, but I'm part of the younger generation, and so I gotta be careful. But a lot of people have networking wrong. Networking is not about what you can get for somebody. I just met Lewis. Lewis walks in. I work at Chick-fil-A at Anderson. Lewis comes in all the time with his family. I didn't know he worked at the bank. I never knew that. I just knew him as Lewis, the guy who comes in with his little girls and get food and, my pleasure. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you next time. So now our network now has started. Now maybe we could work together. Now maybe we could do something. But I'm not going to ask him for no money today just because he worked at a bank. And that's what a lot of people think networking is. They're like, oh, I met this guy. He does this. I can ask him for that, and he'll give it to me just because I know him and we're friends. That's not networking. Networking is about building a relationship. Networking is about being able to listen. Networking is about being genuine with somebody and you guys getting on the same page to do something together that y'all are both passionate about. So I have to say that because I see so many young people, and I know I'm young, I see so many young people who meet somebody and they say, oh, he owns, a golf course, I can play golf for free. That's not the overall goal. What about you go to him and say, hey, can you teach me about business? Can you teach me how you got into this? Can you teach me about real estate? Can you teach me about something like that? I know so many people that would love to be approached that way instead of being approached in a, hey, what can you do for me? Because eventually people go stop answering the phone when you start on that spiel. Brian touched on it. I was able to get 2 degrees, and this is something, the 2 degrees is really, really a testament to my grandmother. She's still with us, she's still alive, and I say my grandmother because when I was little, she used to call me Buster, because I would tear up everything. We would go to her house, and me and my cousins, we would tear her house up. And of course, I would be the ringleader, so I got the nickname Buster. But she used to always say, whenever you go to school, Buster, you make sure you get your degree. And I would say, okay, y'all just kind of brush it off, I'm gonna get an education. My parents made sure I was serious about school and all that. And so that was why I went to college. That was part of my why for going to school, right? And she said, no, you don't understand. And I said, well, explain it to me. I call her Mama. I said, explain it to me, Mama. Why you always say, get your degree, get your degree? And she said, because it's something that nobody can ever take from you. And when she said that, it meant a lot to me because people can steal your car, people can burn your house down, people can harm your family members, but nobody can take that degree from you. And if they try, they got to try to take 2 of mine. I'm gonna jump into the mental aspect of what I wanted to talk about today. I know a lot of y'all probably are Clemson fans. I know Lewis is a Carolina fan. He said he married into it, so I'm gonna let him off the hook. But I know y'all understand best is the standard. And that's something that Coach Sweeney preaches, and it's something that I've tried to take with me as I left the program. But one thing about the whole best is the standard, people don't understand that my best and your best may not be the same. You may be way better than me. I may be way better than you. It's not about that. It's about your best. Whatever your best is. It's not, everybody's on different playing fields, and that's something that people need to understand is you can't measure yourself to everybody else always. God made you to be unique. He made you to be who you are, and he didn't make you to try to be like anybody else. So take that best as a standard and understand it and apply it to your life, but apply it knowing that it's about your best and not your best compared to somebody else. Because once you start doing that, you open up a whole nother can of worms that you probably don't want to get in, okay? Emotionally, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time emotionally. That first national championship, I can remember I will never forget the moment. Tampa, we were on top of the world. The way we won the game, the way the game ended, just so many different emotions. Flying back the next day with the team. We're on the team plane having a pillow fight. A bunch of kids and coaches, we throwing pillows, and we get back, and Clemson is going crazy. And even for weeks after the game, we're still riding that emotional high. We win the second one, and that was when we knew, okay, we're a premier program. We can stay here, we can play at this level year after year. And it was something that we all wanted to achieve. That's why a lot of guys came back, because we thought we could do it again. For me personally, I had a couple of good years too. My junior season was probably my best year. My senior year was the second national championship. And so I'm starting to meet with agents. I'm starting to kind of have that NFL conversation, starting to kind of see what the draft stock is going to look like. And, so things are kind of looking up. I'm getting excited. I'm thinking I'm about to achieve what I set out to kind of achieve since I was 8 or 9 years old when I first started playing. And so those are emotional highs. Milo was born during that last season. I had a lot of emotional highs for me personally. And then the draft hits. Don't get drafted. Emotional low. I mean, low. You can ask my wife. Low. I am way at the bottom. One of my best friends, Kendall Joseph, I will never forget. He played linebacker at Clemson, was my roommate throughout college. Talked to him every day. I went to his house after the draft. He didn't get drafted either. And we're both just kind of standing there and sitting around looking, and we're like, how is this possible? 2 national championships, all these accolades, all of this, all of that, you know, what do we do now? Like, we literally were at the bottom. We had put our whole life into this game. We didn't really know what to do. So we both end up getting tryouts. So I went to Minnesota first. Fly to Minnesota first to have a tryout with the Vikings. I was there, I think, 3 days? 3 days with the Vikings. They decided not to sign me. And so I'm like, okay, like, you know, I liked Minnesota. Minnesota was cool. They had a good facility. I liked everything about it. So again, kind of still lumbering down towards the bottom, right? Emotional low. They didn't want to sign me. But in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I know next weekend I'm going to Pittsburgh. So I got another chance with another team. So I'm kind of bummed about Minnesota, but at the same time, I know I got a second opportunity. So I go to Pittsburgh. Didn't want to sign me after I left. Emotional low. I mean, I am done. I'm at the bottom. So then I had always known that I wanted to own my own business. I saw my dad do it. My dad's a State Farm agent in Savannah. He's been a State Farm agent for probably 30 plus years. So I've seen him own his own business my whole life. And it was something I was really passionate about. And so I'm in Pittsburgh Airport. I already know about Chick-fil-A at this point. I had kind of formulated that to be my backup plan that last year of college, trying to be a Chick-fil-A operator. And so I'm in the airport, walking through the airport. I'm texting my wife back and forth. We weren't engaged then. I think we were still dating at that point. And so I don't really know what I'm going to do. And my phone rang. And I think this was truly God, because I didn't know what I was going to do, guys. I'm about to fly back to Pendleton, or fly back to Greenville, come home, and my phone rang, and it's one of my Chick-fil-A connections. And he says, "How does it go? How'd it go? What did they say?" And so we start talking, and I said, his name is Ross, and I said, Ross, I think I'm done with football. And there was a long pause. I mean, it seemed like an eternity. And he said, why do you say that? And I said, Milo's born now. I said, I don't want to do practice squad. I don't want to play overseas. I don't want to drag my family across the world, me chasing the dream. I said, maybe it's time for me to just grow up. And he kind of stopped and paused again. And he said, okay. He said, well, think about it a day or two and then call me back. So we hung up. I'm waiting for my flight. Maybe 30 minutes go by, and I called him back. And I said, Ross, I'm done. I said, I got to do something else. I said, I'm at emotional low, and I cannot stay in this place because it'll destroy my family. It'll destroy me. I said, I can't stay at this spot. And I tell you guys that story because when people start thinking about emotions and they want to ride the wave, right? You want to ride the wave. And that's fine, but the part that I want you to get in this whole story is it's always about how you respond. Because I could have said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to Canada, I'm gonna go to this, I'll be in the league in a year, it's fine. And maybe so. That may have been true, but I didn't want to put myself through the emotional damage that I was gonna have to go through to still chase a dream. And a lot of people may say, well, you gave up on your dream. Why'd you do that? I didn't give up on my dream. Because through football, I learned my passion. And my true passion is having the platform to impact other people. So throughout football, I had a couple of instances that really taught me that at a young age. I went to a small 1A private school in Savannah. There was probably, I graduated with maybe 90 kids in my graduating class. It's a pre-K through 12 school. Everybody kind of knows everybody. Parents know each other. And we're playing a game one Friday night. I forget who we were playing or what the situation was, but we're walking off of the field. I remember we won. We won a bunch of games in high school. We had a good high school team. And so I'm walking off the field, and at this point, I'm a junior in high school, not committed to Clemson yet. I got a bunch of offers, and this little kid walks up to me. I don't know him, and he looks at me. He says, "Hey, can I have your gloves?" And I'm kind of like, man, I'm gonna see you Monday. Like, I'm just a kid you go to school with. He's younger, he's probably middle school. And in my head, I'm like, wow, this is the same thing I was doing at college games. I would go on a visit and we'd be in the locker room and I'd get a pair of gloves or I'd get a towel or whatever at the end of the game from somebody. And so, I gave it to him and said, yeah, man, here you go. Hope you're having a great day, all that. Talked to him for a few moments. Go on about my day. Monday rolls around and I'm in our school parking lot, getting out of my car. I just got to school that morning. And his mom comes up to me as I'm getting out of the car, which I thought was kind of weird. I'm like, as soon as I open my door, you popping up, like, were you waiting on me? Or, what's going on, right? And so she comes up to me, and again, I don't know her, and she says, hey. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I just want to thank you for giving your gloves to my son. And in my head, I'm kind of trying to think about, exactly what she's talking about. And I said, yeah, no problem. He came up to me and asked, and said, no, it's no big deal. And she said, no. She said, you don't understand. And I kind of looked at her, kind of puzzled, and she said, he had been getting bullied at school that same Friday. There's some kids in his class that aren't being particularly nice to him, and you turned his whole day around. And when we got home, he was so thrilled and so happy, and he had forgotten about everything that he was dealing with at school because you gave him your gloves. And it kind of hit me. I mean, I'm a junior in high school. And so, right then I'm like, okay, this is quickly becoming less about me and more about what I can do for other people. So that was instance number one. Junior in high school, fast forward to college. This is after the first national championship. And we have fan day at Clemson where fans come and we sign all the autographs. And so we've probably signed, I don't know, maybe 2,000 autographs in however, I think it's a 4-hour event, if I'm not mistaken. And we're walking back in the facility. And for some reason, I'm one of the last guys to walk in. So my back is turned and I'm walking in and I hear this person from behind me and he's calling my name. And it's kind of like I got the devil on one side and God on the other. Like, do you stop? Do you act like you don't hear him? Do you keep going? What's going on? And so for some reason, I stopped and turned around. And I kind of turned like, please don't ask me for no autograph. Like I had burnt out, right? And so I turned and I stopped and I said, how you doing, sir? And he said, I'm good. He said, I really want to thank you for winning that game. And in my head, I'm like, we've been winning a lot of games around here. We got a national championship. Which game are you talking about, right? And he says, no, I'm talking about the South Carolina game. And he said it just like that. I'm talking about South Carolina. And I said, okay. So in my head, I'm like, well, he's probably born in the state, always grew up in the rivalry, this, that. And so I said, no problem, sir. And he looks at me, he said, no, you don't understand. He said, at the job where I work, he said, my supervisor is a South Carolina fan. And he makes my schedule for the whole calendar year. And when y'all win the game, we always work different shifts because he doesn't want to face me. And it was funny. I did the same thing, right? I started laughing like, are you serious? Like, is this really what we're talking about? And he said, you don't understand. He said, it just makes my calendar year so much easy for me to go to work because I don't have to worry about my supervisor bugging me or, he's way easier to deal with when y'all win that game. And it was kind of funny, and I'm laughing. I'm like, okay, sir, thank you, But again, just instance number 2, that this game of football, through the game of football, I was able to figure out what my purpose was. And that's something that I want to challenge y'all with. I'm really big on perspective, and I'm really big on why. And so I'm so thankful that I was able to have the opportunity to play and to go the places that I did, because through the game, I was able to understand what my purpose was on this earth. And so leading into that, I kind of want to talk a little bit about perspective. Somebody told me this story. I forget who it was. I was listening to somebody speak. And so I'm stealing this one, but I think it's good, so I'm going to tell y'all about it. There were these two kids one day, and their dad was a farmer. And he just worked really hard all the time. The kids, they didn't have much. He was a farmer. He had two boys, and Christmas time was coming up. And so, he's doing everything he can to try to get Christmas gifts. And one day, he asked the kids what they would like for Christmas. And so one boy pulls out this list, and he has this long list of stuff he wants, the exact colors of shoes, the exact toys, the exact this. And the other kid says, "Dad, I just want a pony." And they grew up on a farm, so, to the kid, he's like, we got horses, we got cows, a pony, that wasn't a big ask for them. So the dad said, okay, and he was really baffled by the son who had the long list of things that he wanted. So Christmas came around, he put the kid who had the long list of stuff in the room with everything he asked for. And he put the kid who wanted the pony in a room full of manure. And he gave the kid a shovel. And he said he locked him in the room for about 30 minutes. And he goes in the room first with the kid who got everything he wanted. And he says, son, what do you think about all your Christmas presents? And the kid goes, oh, this is the wrong color, this is the wrong size. I didn't ask for this, I wanted this edition, I wanted that edition. So he said he just shut the door on the kid and walked out. He goes to the other room, and he opens the door, and the kid says, what you doing, son? And the son was just digging, just shoveling, right? And he looked at him and he said, Dad, he said, as much manure is in this room, there's got to be a pony at the bottom. Life is about perspective. Life is about perspective. And life is about why. So in closing, I want to challenge everybody in this room, figure out what your why is. Figure out your why and chase your why in whatever avenue that is that you can find it. For me, like I said, I wanted to be a business owner like Mr. Brian told you. My why is I'm passionate about the platform to impact other people. And I want to do that through owning my own business. And so Chick-fil-A for me was, the epitome of what I wanted to do. So my wife and I, we're about a year away from having our own restaurant. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me. Do we have time for questions, Brian? Can we open it up for a few questions? If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We can talk football. Come here, Milo. We can talk football. We can talk anything y'all want to talk. Come here.
Never mind.
Go ahead. Does anybody have any questions?
Can we get your uncle to run for political office?
No comment. Next question. No, man, he's all over the place. He travels so much. A lot of people all the time ask about our relationship. They're like, oh, do you talk to your uncle? And I look at him and I'm like, do you have an uncle? And they say, yeah. And I said, do you speak to your uncle? Do you have his phone number? Do y'all eat Thanksgiving dinner together? Do y'all send each other Christmas presents? And they say, yeah. And I said, well, it's the same thing with my uncle. He's a regular uncle to me. Anybody else? None of my athletes got any questions? Go ahead, Lewis.
Can you talk to us about maybe a moment of adversity, maybe in college, playing sport, something that you really had to overcome?
Yeah, plenty. So I got two that come to mind right off the bat. I got hurt my redshirt freshman year. I got rolled up on and I had ankle surgery. And so, geez, something. And so that was a moment that kind of was adversity for me, because I was probably going to get quite a bit of playing time coming into that season. This happened in the spring. I had surgery pretty quick to try to get back before the season started. I was able to get back and I was able to have a decent season, but I knew it wasn't what it should have been. Her microphone's on. And then the second is when I first got to Clemson. A lot of kids that are highly recruited, they were kind of the man in their state, definitely the man in their city, and it was the same way for me. I mean, I was the top kid at my position coming out of Georgia. I think I was 5th or 6th in the nation coming out for a tight end, and so I was good, and I don't have any problem telling you that because I worked for it, and that's not me trying to be boastful or prideful. It's just there's a subtle confidence that comes with people when they know they have put the work in to be good at whatever it is they're doing. And so anyway, I get to Clemson thinking that I'm gonna have a shot to play, and I didn't. I redshirted, and I didn't know how to handle it. But looking back on it, it was the best thing that ever could have happened, because it allowed me to get 2 degrees. I hung around for another national championship, and so it really helped me on and off the field. It gave me another year to learn the playbook, to get stronger in the weight room, to just adapt to being in college. I mean, that's a lot from a kid who's walking onto a college campus. I mean, just to figure out where all the buildings are, and you kind of need a couple of weeks just to get all that together. And so redshirting is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, but at the time, I was upset about it because I didn't understand why, because I thought I was good enough to play. Yes, sir. I think it goes back to that why that I've been talking about. At that point, I knew it was about the platform to impact other people. Okay, yeah. He asked what motivated me and what motivated me to keep going, even through adversity, and kind of what motivates me to want to have my own business one day. And I think just understanding my why was big for me. Understanding that it was about the platform to impact people. And so, and I got another one of those really from my family. I have a very, very tight-knit family, especially my mom's side. I mean, I almost every weekend we were at my grandmother's on my mom's side. And my dad's family is close-knit too, but they were just further away. My dad's from Florida, my mom's from Georgia. And so my mom was about, my mom was about, her home is about an hour from Savannah. So it was easier for us to get there, like on the weekends and things like that. And seeing how me playing, especially in college, brought my family together was kind of when it started changing for me. It started becoming, this is more about how I can impact other people. And so I think that's what kept me going. And because, I mean, that was it. I mean, if something happened, like these moments that I was just sharing about, the first person I would call would be my parents. And then it would probably be one of my uncles, and not Herschel, because we didn't talk about football a whole lot. He was more interested in school. We rarely talked football. Maybe, I can think of maybe 3 times we talked about football throughout my whole career. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. Got time, maybe 2 more. Any of my athletes, I know we got some athletes in the building. Don't be shy, I know how it is. Y'all want to be cool and not ask a question. I was that same kid. Yes, sir. The process of recruiting and how did it feel? Let me see the best way I can. Recruiting it's a fun experience. My whole recruitment was really, really exciting. I had an opportunity to really, I think I had maybe 26 scholarships. So I had an opportunity to go a bunch of different places. So it was fun because everybody wanted me. And it was really fun. I mean, going all over the country, taking trips to different places. I mean, I went to Tennessee, Clemson, NC State, South Carolina, Auburn. I was all over the place. I went to a bunch of different schools. Vanderbilt was the first school to offer me. I'm so grateful for that, because when that started, everybody knew academically I had what it took to get in school. So they're like, oh, Vanderbilt offered him? Okay, we ain't gotta worry. And so I was kind of grateful for that because they kind of set the tone. But it was really fun until I had to make a decision. And that's when it got not so fun. Because what they don't tell you in recruiting is they're only taking a certain amount of kids at your position that year because there's only a certain amount of scholarships. So what position do you play? Okay, so running back, a team may take 3 running backs in 1 year, like one recruiting class, but they probably offering 7 guys. That's what they don't tell you. So I got a call one day from Tennessee and from NC State in the same day. And they said, hey, I forget the kids' names. I know the guys because we all were in the same class. But anyway, they said, so-and-so just committed. I'm sorry, we're full at NC State. We wish you the best of luck. If anything happens, we'll let you know. I'm like, so my scholarship is gone? Like, I can't go to school here if I want to? No. Couple minutes went by, literally, it was back to back. I was driving home from school and Tennessee called and it was the same thing. And so I knew then, I'm like, well, they were kind of in my top 4. It was really Tennessee, NC State, Georgia, and Clemson. That was kind of what it came down to for me. And so I went home and I ended up committing to Clemson that same night. But it was really, really not heartbreaking, but it got really serious for me really quick. It was more or less about having fun at that point. And it was more about, okay, where do you really want to go to school? Because in a couple of days, you're going to end up having to go somewhere you really don't want to go. So, one more. Never. You can ask my wife. I think it's something I really get from my dad, just seeing him in the business world for so long. And just understanding the type of impact you can have. And it's really not about, again, for me, networking was never about what I could get from somebody else. It was about how can we partner to do something good for somebody else. That's kind of how I view the networking. Yeah, you may be able to teach me something. You may be able to show me something that I haven't learned. But throughout the process, I was always trying to find out who I could partner with to do something. Maybe I can partner with Lewis to get a loan and we can build something for kids. That's the kind of networking that I was into, but probably never. I'm a businessman at heart and an entrepreneur at heart, and football just was the vehicle that God placed me in to let me realize what my true passion was. And along the way, I was able to collect a lot of accolades. So, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
So let's give Milan another round of applause, please. Not only is that brilliant advice relative to sports, it is just brilliant life advice. I wanted to give you just a couple. Milan and I had lunch a couple days ago and we were talking, but I just want to touch on just really quickly a couple of the things he said. And I want to give you a statistic. Statistically speaking, only 1 in every 160,000 high school athletes go pro. Did y'all hear that? 1 out of 160,000, not 16,000. Not 6,000, not 160. 1 out of 160,000 high school athletes go pro. Now that's not to knock your dream. I don't code switch very well, so I'll say it like I would say it if y'all was just my people. Don't get it twisted. That's not to knock your dream. As Milan said, keep dreaming. But there's a reality is. The reality is your work ethic and what you do dictates what you do after plan A doesn't work out. We all know, I mean, I know Milo, he has the talent to play there, but it's also circumstances. He'll tell you himself. So what I want to impress upon you is that there's a plan A, plan A.2.0, and plan B. And remember, your plan B should be indicated by how hard you want to work. You can't have league aspirations and have sandlot work ethic. Y'all understand what that means? League aspirations, sandlot work ethic. Y'all follow that? And that's not just in football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever sport you play. That's in life as well. So if your league dreams don't come true, your new league is whatever business venture that you choose to do with the rest of your life. And that same work ethic that you had to get you to college will be the same work ethic that you need to make you be successful and stay successful. Nobody ever told you, and I know that's not grammatically correct, but no one will ever tell you that it's easy. But what I will tell you is that it will always be worth it. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lunica Mussolini. She is going to introduce the panel if I don't fall. She's going to introduce the panel. I have a set of questions that I'm going to direct at the panels. I encourage you to participate. Ask whatever questions you have. No question is taboo. No question is off limits. We are here to answer your questions, whatever they may be.
Let's give it up one more time for Mr. Richard. That was awesome. So inspiring. In addition to our keynote, Milan Richard, we have 3 highly esteemed panelists here with us today. First, we have, and if you would come up as I introduce you. So Mr. Richard, would you please come back? First, we have Rodney Estrada. Rodney is a 3-time award winner of the National Hispanic Scholarship Foundation, a first-generation college student and graduate of the University of Georgia. Rodney has a long career in academics, but took 20 years to work in athletics as a member of the U.S. Olympic movement in the sport of archery. He is a level 4 national coach and national judge and has represented Team USA as coach in competitions around the world. Rodney co-founded the U.S. Archery Collegiate Division that now sees thousands of students competing at the collegiate level. He fills his days with competitive biking, his farm, and his 5 kids, and has a passion for helping students find their way through the obstacles that can stand in the way of their future. Welcome, Rodney. Next, we have Luis Martinez. Luis is an experienced commercial lender, a community college graduate, and graduate of Anderson University. Luis is a former baseball student athlete. Luis joined South State as a vice president and commercial banker with 11 years of banking experience in the Anderson market, with the last 10 years being at TD Bank. Luis has a passion for leadership and serving in the community, as evidenced by his service on several boards, including our very own Board of Visitors. Thank you, Luis. Luis has been named to the Independent Mail 20 Under 40 and the GSA Business Reports 40 Under 40. Luis is married to Hollins, and they have 3 children, Sophia, Elaine, and Lillian. Welcome, Luis. Next, we have Don Peppers. A native of Pendleton, South Carolina, Don Peppers found his calling in his own hometown, where he has spent the last 20 years advocating for the youth of South Carolina. After attending college, Don returned to South Carolina, where he has built a solid reputation for teaching, coaching, mentoring, and serving. In 2004, Don launched Camp Proverbs, also known as Proverbs Mentoring Organization. In addition to serving as executive director of Proverbs Mentoring Organization, Don is the athletic director for Anderson Christian School. Don serves on several boards, including the Pendleton Rhinos Investment Group, who's one of our sponsors today. Thank you. Don has received many accolades throughout his career, most notably being recognized by 107.3 Jams as an upstate Black history maker. Mr. Peppers was also featured on the cover of the Anderson magazine. He is a devoted church member of Kingdom Vision Worship Center, and he is married to the lovely Sheila. And they share 4 children, Christian, Sheldon, Caitlin, and Carrington. Thank you all. It's okay, get comfortable.
We have a series of 4 questions. Again, they're for all the panelists, and what I want you to do, what we're asking you all to do, if you have additional questions subsequent to the answers that they give, by all means, please ask. And not only will they do their best to answer, but we will as well, and others in the room that have experience with these topics. I promise you we will lean on Chief Guest while he's back there, and others in the room. So the first question, and it's directed to the panelists, and you guys can just pass the microphone around. What has helped you get to where you are? What has influenced you? What has been effective? And what advice would you have for others who want to be successful, be it in your field or other?
Well, I'll go ahead and start since I have the microphone. Thank you, first of all, to Tri-County Technical College for hosting such a wonderful event. Milan, killed it. Thank you for that. I'm so thankful to have my coworkers here from South State Bank and to have some fellow church members from Boulevard Baptist Church here as well. So I feel blessed to have that. So, you know, it all depends on how you define success and how you get to necessarily where I'm at today. I'm very thankful and I feel very blessed for where I'm at today. But if I had to give credit to anybody, I'm going to first start with my Lord and Maker, God and Jesus Christ. I'm thankful for that. But I have been so fortunate from the day I was born to be born into a really good set of parents, really good family, very good, friends throughout my life. So I think it's a series of relationships. If I had to sum it up, I've had people around me that have always been interested in making me better. And I've always had a very curious nature in wanting to know how to be better. Not necessarily to be the best, but to be better, because I felt like the word best was always subjective, right? There was always a way to be better in whatever you're doing. I didn't go to school to be a banker. Listen, I love wearing a suit every day. I love looking like I'm somebody that's really important, but I'm just another guy doing the job, okay? So to get me where I got today was seriously a relationship that I had with a fellow athlete. I played baseball in college at Clemson University right down the road. And I graduated back in 2010 when the economy was still a little bit down. It was hard to find a job. And I went to school for kinesiology, which is a form of biology, exercise science. So I was thinking I was going to become a physical therapist or something like that route. But I had a friend that was working at Wells Fargo, and he had made a comment to me. He said, you have that personality. He goes, I think you'd be good for banking. I had no idea. But I went ahead and pursued having a conversation with his manager. And that opened one door, which led to another door. And to summarize all this and not bore you with the entire conversation, I've had at least one mentor internally with the company I've worked at, and several mentors and good friends along the way that have kept me balanced in every single thing that I do. And I've realized that to be an industry expert, you got to have somebody internally that's walk the walk. Somebody that understands how you define success internally. And then externally, I had a lot of really good friends that I felt kept me grounded, spiritually, mentally, and just helped me be a better person. Because I knew ultimately that's who I wanted to be. Milo talked about this earlier. I want to be the best version of me. I truly do. And maybe this is odd to think this way, but I feel like God's called me to do something important here on this earth, and I want to make sure that I achieve that. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to pass the phone on or the microphone to Mr. Pepper.
Thank you. Some of the answers they made seem like they're repetitive, but I'll say some of the same things that the gentleman said. It's the order of life for me. When I think about those people who have helped me to become a success in life, First of all, I've always felt a clear direction from Christ at a young age. There was always a clear direction that I would serve people. Didn't know where that would take me, but it's brought me here to be on this esteemed panel. And so I'm humbled by that. My parents, even when I was younger, and even at the age of 43, I've always wanted to make my parents really proud of me. I still want to make them proud, still want my mom to give me that hug, still want to be validated by my parents. I grew up with a stepfather, but he taught me the principles of manhood. And so still seeing this smile, a man of few words, still that pat on the back, that means the world to me now. Still keeps me grounded. And then surrounding yourself with the right people. You'll hear that time and time again, but that still holds true as you age into adulthood. So I've been able to build great relationships over the years, and some of those relationships have helped me to grow and achieve some things that I never imagined I would achieve. And for me, it wasn't necessarily in the degrees and educational route. It was just in believing what God had called me to do that's allowed me to be successful at this day and time, such a time as this.
I think maybe they should have been the keynote because what they said right there was really, really good. I think a lot of that holds true, and I'm going to kind of follow suit. I mean, first off, just my relationship with Lord Jesus Christ has really helped me, and then my parents. I mean, I cannot say enough about the parents that I had, just to instill what they did in me, and I'm definitely understand what you're talking about when you still want to make your parents proud. It's the same thing for me now. And then the relationship piece goes back into it. I still have mentors. I have mentors within Chick-fil-A. I still have mentors in the athletic world. I have a spiritual mentor. I have a lot of people that I talk to, kind of like Lewis was saying, that kind of helps balance everything in your life. And so I think that's important. And I think just the overall desire to be the best me is something as well, and those mentors have helped me along the way try to become the best self that I can be, and not for me, but really for everybody else, for everybody else around me. That way, hopefully I can pay it forward, as Brian would say, to somebody else. I know that's something that we spoke a lot about. Is, you know, if we are where we are, we need to help other people try to be their best self. That way they can give back to somebody else. So with that, I'm gonna pass the microphone.
Well, thanks first of all for letting me be a panelist. I appreciate the invitation. I enjoy coming to things like this and getting a chance to wear one of my national championship rings. Never comes out the drawer until then. I guess the first thing that I'd pass on to you is learn your heart. Young folks and all of us in the room, learn your heart. God's going to talk to you. He's going to speak to you, and you got to have your heart open enough to hear what's said. No matter how much church you go to, no matter how many people you listen to, your heart's not open, then you're not going to hear. You start now. Start listening. And then I would say what's given me probably the best step up in the things that I've done and the amazing people that I've met and the amazing things that I've accomplished is my ability to bounce. You're going to find out that life is hard. You're going to find out that it's not easy. You're going to find out that there's trepidations, there's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be traps, there's going to be horrible things happen to you in your life. And if you don't learn to bounce, and you don't learn to bounce well, you won't get past those bounces. You're not going to move through that. I went through the death of my son. I went through horrible health happenstances. I've gone through so many things in my life, and I've been able to bounce. The bounce has been because of my faith, because of my beautiful wife and kids. But learn to bounce. Absolutely. That's what I would pass on to you. Learn to pivot and learn to twist on that. Get through life just fine.
Before we move on to the next question, are there any questions relative to what these gentlemen just talked about? Are there any questions from anyone, student, faculty member, sponsor, representative for the panelists?
I'm sorry. Yes. A couple of them talked about adversity as well as pivoting, and I know business people are so sick of hearing that term since the pandemic. But With that, I know that all of you have experienced adversity, and thinking about where you are now, when you look back in that moment, you probably never realized that you would even make it through it. So can you talk a little bit about experiencing that adversity, the process that you went through to kind of overcome that to be who you are today? And I must, before you respond, I must apologize to South State. Thank you all for being a Men of Color Scholarship sponsor today.
I guess the bounce and the pivot, and the steps you go through to move past that. There's stages of grief, and there's stages of living, and there's stages of getting re-engaged in what you're going to do in life. And I guess the first thing you're going to find in the struggle that, as you heard from our speaker, wasn't drafted, or the death of my son, and so many other things that we're all going to face. The first thing is anger, and learning how to control, focus, and turn that anger inwards. And learn how to harness that and turn that into what you're going to do to move forward from. The anger can take you, the anger can hold you, and the anger can destroy you. If you don't learn to move through, and progress through, and turn into the person who can harness that tool, you're going to stay stuck. And unfortunately, I see too many of my former colleagues and way too many of the people I went to school with in Atlanta struggle. Never got past whatever catastrophe happened in their lives, that anger. Turn it inward, turn it into positive energy, and make that positive energy help you to do what you need to do. And you're going to find out, again, your heart open to God, and it's open to the pathway He's going to lay out for you. You're going to see that tool of anger is going to motivate you and put you on the path to find you away from that anger. It's going to help you.
I think for me, I'm a very relational person, and so I rely on definitely Lord Jesus Christ first, but then I have a really, really close-knit support system. And I have relied on that group of people throughout my entire life. And some of them I met later in life. Some of them I've met in college. Some of them I met in high school. Some of them, I met at daycare. I have a friend that we went to daycare together, and we are still very close to this day. And so I think that's something that I rely on in times of adversity. Like I was just talking about, Kendall Joseph he is in my inner circle. I have a thing that I call myself just the rule of circles. And there's only so many people that can be so close to you, because you have to be careful about your energy. And you have to be careful about who you let into the inner circle, because those people affect your energy. And so, and I'm not trying to be mean, but there's some people that I know that I am really good friends with, but they will never be in the inner circle.
Right.
And so I think having that and kind of not living by, but relying on that system has helped me through a lot of things, because I know I have those certain mentors and those certain old teammates, or the certain businessmen or businesswomen or people that I've met who I can rely on during some of those times, depending on kind of where they're at in my rule of circles and what the issue is.
Great question, Dr. Mussolini. Back in 2017, maybe, my passion was always to come back to my hometown, and I was at Riverside Middle School in Pendleton for 15 years, and loved being back in my school and serving my community through that capacity. And it came to an end. Like, never didn't see it coming, but I was very comfortable. But in short, I was fired for trying to really give back to my community, but there's order. And at that moment, I didn't know if I would ever be back in school, being able to impact students. But let me tell you how it turns if you trust the gift that's within. The gift that was within will always allow you to do what you're called to do. And I was able to bounce back because I trusted that gift. And from there, where I was just maybe a coach, maybe undervalued, God brought me to a place where I could lead an athletic program and made me an athletic director at a private school. And over time, that same he's just continued to just give me an increase in the relations that I've been able to build. And now I have my own students with Coach Prep Academy, the Restoration Project, and the Proverbs Mentoring Organization. So he'll turn it. If you trust the gift, there's no adversity too big or too small that you can't overcome. You continue to do great things for the people that you're called to serve.
Well, I'm gonna get a little personal with you guys, and I'll share something with you. If you can relate with it, great. If you can't, that's okay too. So when we talk about adversity, everybody's adversity is different, right? But since I was 16 years old, I'm 35. I've struggled with anxiety. I've had anxiety. That's somewhat a new term for some folks, but it's a feeling of nervousness. You know, your heart will start to race. Maybe your palms will get sweaty. You don't really know what's going on, right? You just you think that you're getting fearful, but there's really nothing to be scared of. So since I was 16 years old, I had to figure out how to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, right? And it wasn't until probably my mid-20s where, you know, I always wanted to play it cool, like nothing was going on. You never want anybody to notice, you know, because for me, it was non-apparent, right? I could be in a situation where I feel uncomfortable. The last thing I want anyone to see is that I'm uncomfortable, right? Because for one, I'm a man, so I want to get this impression that I'm strong and that I'm confident and I'm fine. But the reality is, inside of that, I was nervous, and I was actually fearful of what I didn't know. And then my anxiety turned into the things that I was fearful in. I just didn't want to feel that way, right? I just didn't want to feel that way. I wanted to be comfortable. And then something went off in my brain when I started doing more research. I started realizing every time I make myself do something that I'm fearful to do, I get a little bit better. I get a little bit stronger. And I start telling myself, whatever's got you feeling nervous, you're going to show your brain that you're just fine, right? And whether it's surrounding yourself around people that make you feel better, whether it's putting yourself in controlled situations where you can take a little step forward and kind of combat whatever you're struggling with. But that has helped me so much in life where I've realized that, you know what, sometimes I'm just going to have to do it scared. Like, there's no time to be comfortable here. I either get to rise up or I get to go ahead and I just get to give up an opportunity. So there's going to be a lot of situations like that in your life where somebody's going to say, man, I know how you do that. You're so cool. You're so calm. You're thinking inside yourself, man, I do it. But you're so proud of yourself that you did that. And there'll be a lot of moments in your life where you'll experience something like that. But again, that's just something I've kind of dealt with in my life. Again, it doesn't impact me to where anyone else can see it, but internally, that's always kind of been my form of adversity.
That is amazing. The next question, over the last almost 2 years, our country has been faced with a number of challenges. One of the challenges obviously being a global pandemic. But one of the other challenges has been the fight for equality, social justice, police reform, things that directly impact not just the folks in here that mirror my image, but everyone in here as well. So the question is, how has the last 24 months impacted your life and your ordinary routine?
Well, I'll tell you what, this last 24 months has been for me, I would just say it's been a disruption, but it's been an opportunity of disruption. We've learned as a society to listen a little bit more. We've learned to pivot and do things a little bit differently. You know, I think we've got kind of two things that we're talking about here. First of all, with the pandemic, I was sent to work from home. And for somebody that loves to be around people, that was awful. And I'm not disagreeing with the reason why we did it. You know, we needed to do it as a country. We needed to step back and we needed to figure out where we were safe and what we needed to do. But I went from somebody that was out and about, shaking hands every day, talking to people, to being in my room. Didn't even open the blinds some days. I would just go straight to the computer and I would work, right? It was unhealthy. And you see what's going on in the world too, and you start to feel like you're in a place where you're just stuck. Like, what in the world? is going on right now. But, you know, when we get into some of the social issues that we're seeing in today's world, I can tell you as a Latino male, I'm thinking to myself, maybe now's a good time. Listen, maybe it's a good time for us to come to a place where we can talk. Where we can talk and listen from a place of perspective, and we can see what's going on in the world and try to find some solutions to where we can all just educate ourselves to be a little bit better.
The last 2 years, for me, there's a, I guess, spiritual phrase, faith over fear, it's on a lot of t-shirts. And so the whole faith over fear, I think you just have to choose faith out of all the things that can make us fearful as a nation to continue to just come together and be an effective people. And so for me, that faith has allowed me to continue to just grow and still try to offer what's inside of me to give to the world. So the pandemic, the social injustices, all the different attention that's been placed on it, and you know, we're still living that. I just chose to live in faith. This won't be the last thing we're going to go through as a nation. And so we're going to have to continue to just mount up, become a stronger people, continue to listen to one another, and have a healthy respect for what we all are called to do.
This is where I'm gonna get a little bit personal, because I'm 25 and I have a biracial daughter and we're about to have a biracial son. So for me, the past 2 years, it has really, if I didn't have any kids and if I wasn't married, it would have affected me differently. But me being married and me having a daughter and another young boy about to be here in November, it has really not taken a toll, but it's really affected me because I can see that being my kid one day that gets pulled over with his sister in the car that hasn't really done anything wrong. And to be honest with y'all, it terrifies me. Terrifies me. But on the flip side of that, I think it's given people like us who are, I would say all of us are probably passionate about the platform to influence others. It's allowed us to have this opportunity with kids that we may not have had before. And so, I mean, at a young age, before I even got my license, I knew what to do at a traffic stop. That's just something that was, my parents, I had that conversation really early. I knew how to deal with police. Yes, sir, no, sir, whatever they need, whatever they ask, just listen, we don't care if they take your car, we don't care if they take you to jail, we just want you to be alive. That's how the conversation went. And I knew that, I'm telling you, since I was probably, 10, 11 years old, I have always known what to do anytime you encounter with a police officer. And so I think it's given us the opportunity to speak to that. If anybody forgot, people know now, I would say, which is sad, but it's something that we have to talk about. And like Lewis said, I think it's given everybody an opportunity to say, okay, well, maybe we just need to listen. Maybe we need to listen. Maybe we need to try to understand before we continue to talk and keep doing the same things over and over and over. So that's kind of the social justice side for me. The pandemic side for me has been a struggle. Business has been a struggle. Pivot, again, is a word we keep coming back to. We've had to pivot in my business tremendously. And I think it's been tough to watch the older people in my life, especially how much it has changed their life. I mean, my grandmother is 78, and her whole life has just shut down. I mean, she goes to the mailbox, she comes back, they may go to Walmart, it has just, to see how it has affected the elderly has really kind of hurt me. to see that. And so I think, again, it just gives us an opportunity before it's too late for us to have the right conversations we need to have to try to prevent some things from happening again, pandemic side and social justice side.
For 2 years, the last 2 years, massive amount of change in your ability to pivot. I'm going to tell you a story. 2 years, March, when all this started, all the COVID started, I was slated to be the national head coach of Team USA going to Mexico. I was supposed to travel to Mexico and represent the USA on the international field as the head coach. Of course, international travel was shut down. Archery, being one of those sports, it's not football, it's not basketball, and it's not baseball. It's one of these ancillary sports that comes off from the side over here. And when cuts come to colleges and cuts come to things, it happens to our little sports like us, all right? So my sport gets cut back further and further and further. I'm a national head coach. I coach one of the most successful archery teams in the collegiate realm. I have multiple national championships, and all of a sudden, there's no money to travel. There's no competition. We can't compete. We can't practice. We can't be a part of any of this. And I've had eventually over the 2 years, as that continued, it got to a point where I now work here at Tri-County, and I'm glad for it. My pivot was to reach back to my academic group, find a place to work. I work here. I'm glad to do what I do, and it had to be done. 2 years moved me from being somebody bringing me my coffee to me bringing my boss his coffee, and I'm okay with that. Something that I want to pass on to all of you young folks here. Everybody in this room puts their pants on the exact same way. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how high up in the world you are, and it doesn't matter how low you start. Everybody here puts their pants on the exact same way, except for those of you who jump in with both feet at a time. But for most of us, it's all the same way. And once you learn that, and you learn and understand that part of it, you're going to be able to pivot. You're going to be able to do what you do, and you're going to be okay with it here. Once you're okay here in your heart with what you've decided to do, you'll be okay. 2 years have seen an enormous amount of change in my personal career, but also in the world of social justice and the idea of what we need to do to be a part and get engaged. And I will tell you, what I have seen, what has driven me, what it continues to drive me, is to be a part, to be in, to check into what's going on. Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't wait for the sidelines to become the main part of the field. Your job, you young folks, your job, all of us, you young folks here, y'all have an opportunity. Be a part, be in it, be a part of what we're doing now. If you get a chance to work an event, you get a chance to work a voting event, you get a chance to be at a rally, you get the chance to demonstrate, do it. Be responsible, be a part of that. Change the lives that you're fixing to be entering into. It's your opportunity. Embrace it now. And for me, there's an expression in the old Hispanic community, is lean like a cholo. And I'm going to lean into this one, man. We're going to lean into this one. We're going to come out okay. And that's the message I hope a lot of you young folk in here take away from that. It's going to happen to you in your lifetime. Be ready for it. I think someone said, we haven't seen the end of it. Oh, it's coming. And you guys are going to be the one leading us through that. And the 78-year-olds out here in the world, as I get closer to that, and these younger fellows do that, take care of us. Take care of us, Ocho. Okay?
I'm going to deviate a little bit and call my other friend here, Chief Guest, and ask him if he has something that he wants to add to that sentiment coming from these gentlemen up here. Marcus, just stand next to him.
Come up and
No, I do. And I asked Chief Guest to do this, and I'm putting him on the spot. He did not. Well, actually, I did tell him, but he sees things from two different perspectives. Obviously, he's a chief of police, and he's also a black man. And before he gets started, I'll be a little personal myself. A couple of years ago, and some of you who know me know this, a couple of years ago, I was taking my then 12-year-old daughter to school. My brother-in-law is in this room, and he knows about this as well. And I wear a suit to work every day as well. And I was pulled over by a police officer. He came to the window. I let the window down. He stuck his head in and he said, "Oh, I thought you were one of them." And now, if you know my 12-year-old, she leaned over and she said, "Dad, what exactly does that mean?" Now, while I was vexed by the comment, I understood what he meant. My retort was, "I am one of them." So I say that to say this: don't allow your circumstances to dictate your circumstance. Do you know what do you understand that? Don't allow your circumstances to dictate your circumstance. There's always a lesson in your opportunity. And there's always opportunity in your challenges. Now, my challenge that day, obviously by the thought process that I gleaned from that officer's comments, was to get my daughter to school and to make it to work. It is sad that that's a part of the society that we live in and that we hear oftentimes, and Marcus and I have had this conversation several times, that it's bad apples. And this is about the social justice piece. But here's what I'll leave you, and I'll be quiet. That if we came in this room, or excuse me, if we went outside, and that tree right there was an apple tree. And hanging off that apple tree the tree was full of dead apples. Some good ones, some bad. On the ground, there were some good apples and some bad. That we would not glean from the fact that the apples were bad. We would think that there was something wrong with the tree. So in order to fix this, every one of us in this room should now become arborists and get a part and be a part of it and fix the tree. That's all I got. Go ahead, Mark.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chief Guest, Chief of Police here at Tri-County Technical College. I did a presentation with the men of color here where we spoke and we did talk about police and public relations between police officers and how to act. As he said here earlier, he was taught how to act when he faced police officers, when he had a traffic stop, etc. Police are slated to behave in the most professional way possible. We have to uphold the highest standards. When you come into the police profession, it's a lot of talk about doing what's right all the time versus when you're not on camera. Unfortunately, there are some people in the world that take advantage of that use of power, because police officers do have a lot of power and they abuse it. That's not every police officer, because we do set out to enforce laws and protect and serve the public, which that should be our main focus of our job. Protecting and serving. We are serving. We're public servants first. And police departments have to have more of a conversation about that serving aspect, and I believe they are. I believe it is going. It's more training being put into the police departments about interpersonal communications, diversity, how to interact with the public. Because at some point, somebody is going to run into the police. You're going to get stopped, and you are going to have an interaction with the police. Some of you may not be driving now, but when you are driving, you may get stopped by the police if you have a lead foot. So that interaction can either be a pleasant one or it can spiral out of control. It's a two-way street to look at it, because I am an African-American male, and I have been stopped by the police before. I've been stopped by the police. But I was polite. I was like him. I was polite. I gave my driver's license. I know I hadn't done anything wrong. What we get into is, if you haven't done anything wrong, and whatever, at the stop is not the time to fight that. It's not the time to engage it. They would, you do have a chance to go to court. You do have a chance to build your evidence and collect your evidence and go to court. And that is the place that you do the fighting. If you're doing it on the street and I know my rights and you're very aggressive, that makes the police officer become aggressive. And that really, you don't want that on the street. I'd rather have a very pleasant confrontation. Take the ticket. You can go fight it. You can always go fight it. When you go against the police or you're very argumentative and it makes the situation worse. So I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say, because I look at both sides. Wrong is wrong, no matter who does it. Wrong is wrong. The police are wrong. You're just wrong. But there is a time and a place to handle your battles. There is a time and a place for it. Build your evidence. If you're gonna record, have your phone running or recording or whatever, because the police is probably recording. They're probably recording you. You have a body camera. So, and they should be running a body camera. Because in the state of South Carolina now they have funding where police officers should have body cameras. And we just got a grant so we can get body cameras. So we definitely support that. But what I will say is, don't let that action or that interaction, and you may have had a bad experience with the police where you may not feel like you may feel like you're being injustice. But don't let that at that particular time dictate how you are as an individual. Be that same individual, how you would treat somebody else, and you do have a chance to argue or fight that situation in the court.
Thank you, Marcus. The time is actually drawing near. We had a couple other questions, but it's been so engaging that, and this is all good stuff. So I'm gonna ask the panelists if they have any closing comments or anything that they want to add before we get to ready to close this event.
I'll add this. As a head coach of a collegiate team, giving out scholarships, and throughout my life being the beneficiary of incredible gifts of quality and equity along the line. I'm a product of a bus kid, bus from downtown Atlanta to a white suburb down in College Park. I got to go to school down there. I'm one of about 4 of us in this room old enough to remember those days. And as a head coach, giving out scholarships to these kids, and I give really nice scholarships out. And I'm here for you to understand, everybody here, the blessings and the gifts that you were given. Take them and use them. Take them and use them. The opportunities that are going to open up before you. Don't take a gift and expect the gift to serve you. You serve the gift. Be the first person to practice. Be the last person to practice. In between first and last, bust your butt to make that practice the best it's going to be. This is your chance. When you get these opportunities come to you, don't let the opportunity just go away. Work it. Work that opportunity. That's the waste. That's the loss. That's the way I see the most in too many of the gifts and blessings that we have. We take it, and then we don't give anything back. Nothing comes back. Give back, give back, give back. Be a part of it.
That's great. I really, again, I think maybe some of them should have been the keynote, man. Yeah. I would just say, kind of like I was talking about earlier, find your why. Find the reason why you do what you do. Whether that's an administrator, whether that's academia, whether that's a banker, whether that's trying to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is, look deep within yourself and find out why you're doing what you're doing and give it all you have. Just chase that and everything else will work out. With faith and some good people around you and a support system and you knowing why you're doing what you're doing, you'll be okay. Things are gonna happen. It's not gonna be easy. It wasn't easy not getting drafted. I'm telling y'all. I mean, we were at a low point, but I knew my why at that point. And that why has to be strong enough to almost make you run through brick walls at times, because it felt like a brick wall when we were at that point. So again, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna pass the microphone.
Relationships are really valuable, and so I want to leave an emphasis on relationships that you build over a course of time. Milan spoke to it in a way that really impressed me. So in the last couple of years, I've been able to build a relationship with the Restoration Project and Matt Bailey, who's my executive director. Is Matt still here? And they became one of the sponsors here based off that relationship. So valuable. And then the Pendleton Rhinos, who are some who graduated with us, but all men from Pendleton. All men from Pendleton. We came back together over a course of 2 years to form a relationship over a common bond of our hometown Pendleton relationships. And we have disagreements, but we have a mission to help make this place a better place. And they're here today, not only to support me, but they knew that young men from Pendleton would be here. They understand those relationships. And so those relationships are valuable. And so I to all the young men, every relationship that you build, don't only look to take, look to add value. Look to add value to every relationship that you're able to build over your lifetime.
I'm going to leave you guys with a story that will hopefully inspire maybe generational change. A lot of times people ask, how'd you get up here? How did you get to the position that you're in? I've got to take you back 50 years ago to tell you a story. So when my family came to the United States from Cuba, it was my grandfather from my mother's side. And the way the government worked at that time, they only allowed my grandfather and my mom to leave. My grandmother and her sister had to stay behind in Cuba. But the way they came over is they were sponsored by a family in Chicago. And you can imagine leaving Cuba in the tropics to go to Chicago. It's going to be pretty cold, right? So part of that pathway was they had to stop in Miami. And in Miami, there was a set of coats that were donated. Children, adult males, adult females. So in the pit stop, my mom just told me this story like 3 weeks ago. She tells me that they stop and she gets a little coat. She's 6 years old at the time. And my grandfather puts on his coat. And as he puts it on, he kind of heard something jingle in his pocket. So he stuck his hand in the pocket and he pulled out 2 coins. He looked at it and he leaned over to my 6-year-old mother and said, see these coins right here? I'm going to turn them into dollars. And when they arrived in Chicago, he got 3 jobs. One working as a bellhop on an elevator in the Sears Tower. He sold Cooper tires. And the third one, which blew my mind that I didn't know this story until 3 weeks ago, was he used to clean banks. You talk about generational change. That man, 50 years later, if I would have been able to tell him that he'd be cleaning a bank that his grandson would one day manage, be a vice president of, I stand on his shoulders and my parents' shoulders, and I understand the last name on my back was here a lot earlier than when I was born. So never give up hope that things can't get better, and don't feel like your story wasn't written long before you were born. It's just your opportunity to follow through and lean on people to continue to be who you want to be.
First and foremost, we want to give the panelists another round of applause. The sharing of stories, the wisdom and knowledge that they have left us with today is invaluable. I would impress upon you that as you get ready to, as we prepare to leave here today, that if you take something away from what they've said, there was a common theme, and it's about perseverance, and being better. My grandfather told me a long time ago, be better tomorrow than you were today. So I challenge you that when you look at your life, you need not look back, because if you continue to look back, you're gonna not see the destiny that God has for you to walk into. So focus on being better tomorrow than you were today. And thank you to them again. Now, before we do closings, if you look for the young men and women, if you look in the back of your book, you may have a card in it. If you have one of those cards, please hold it up. Those cards are for gifts. We're just gonna give you a little parting gift. Come on up, young man. There's 6 more, so. You don't mind.
Hey, somebody can
Yeah. Take a kid, any kid. Some of them.
Oh, we're missing one. Somebody else has a card.
So we actually have 2 other gifts by one of the sponsors. Well, actually 3. So come on up, young man. Come on. So just to give the other 2 away, because we actually ended up having more prizes. So whoever can tell me what Milan's first one to tell me what Milan's uncle's name is will get a prize. Yes, you young man. Herschel Walker, come on up. And another random question. Mr. Peppers, if somebody, the first one that can tell me, and if one of y'all don't get this, shame on you. The name of the organization that this gentleman founded along with his colleagues in the room. I think it was that young man in the back. Teal shirt. You, young brother, stand up. Turn around. What's the name? Come on up. Okay. Come on up.
That is one of them.
It's really not what I was looking for, but it's close enough. I was looking for Silver Light.
Yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
Can't proverb got tenure.
I got it. I knew that too, but that ain't what I was looking for. So before I would be remiss if I did not thank one, our Minicolor Scholarship sponsor, South State Bank. Thank you, and for your colleagues that are here. I was talking to a colleague and Milan and a couple other folks. I do not like the term underserved. I do not think that term does the men and women, young men and women, justice. I do believe that there's a term called under-resourced. And because of his organization and his colleagues, those young men and women will have the resources to attend college, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. We also want to thank the Pendleton Rhinos, which is what I was looking for. The Pendleton Rhinos who just have been amazing in partnering with our organization, our initiative. John and all your colleagues, if you don't mind, would you please stand up, please? It is because of men like yourselves that the young men that you guys represent will have the tangible tools to be successful. And again, that is truly, truly a beautiful thing. Lastly, we also want to again thank the Restoration Project Foundation for all that you have done to help this event come to fruition, to bringing us the lunch, to helping us along the way. I will move out of the way now and ask Dr. Blakely to come up. On behalf of myself, before I leave, and my colleagues and the others that are a part of this initiative, I am truly honored and I truly thank you.
And on behalf of Tri-County Technical College, we just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules today to be with us. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your finances, because, in order to do something like this, it takes finances as well as dedication. We look at our committee, who's been so loyal to us, and our foundation that's been a part, our student development office, and so many other people at Tri-County Technical College that have participated and made this a success, because this is an effort. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, but we truly appreciate what we do. So I want the Men of Color Committee to please stand. And Alpecia and the others are standing over here. So I just want to say thank you so much for your effort and your dedication and the time that you spend to our entire college faculty and staff who attended today. We really appreciate you. So thank you to everyone, and feel free to mingle and talk. Oh yeah, one final thing, please remember to complete the survey, because we want to always get better. And they're on your table in front of you, if you don't mind, please. And y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I apologize for interrupting, but if you participated and were a part of the panel, we need y'all for pictures. Committee members, if you are still present, we need you for pictures. August, are you still in the room? There's like a million of us. We are here. We are all yeah, I didn't know. There you go. I don't know whose laptop it is.
It's not.
I have no clue. Don't take his laptop. He said, he gave me specific as to what to take back. And he was like, don't take the laptop, so I'm leaving the laptop. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what they literally, well no, but literally everybody who comes back to me tells me, I can't find it. And I'm like, oh yeah. That was it. I don't know though, that one I don't know.
I was like, yeah, what he's talking about.
Let me ask. So, I'm assuming y'all can with this as a whole. I love it! Are you jamming? No? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna choke this man. Now what is your waddling tail? You gotta chase that demon. You about as bad as me.
You can leave it there, I'm gonna get the body bag, check like you see everything in the body bag.
I know his parents. He's supposed to take me fishing. I'm like, that's I know.
Fun fact, you made me get that application from my son.
Come tell him to come see me.
He turned 14 and we homeschool.
Tell him to come see
He's
me.
like, Mom, I can get a job. I tell you I'm not being shy. You don't have to be shy.
It's smiling back. Yeah, of course, man. How you doing? Yeah, nice to meet you. Where? What position? What year did you come out? 2024. I didn't know that's bad. So you what? You got a little ways to go. Probably got her junior year. Next year, probably in the summer. Do you go to any of the camps?
See, that's what you did. It's not up there. She said, come here, I tell you.
They don't How you doing? Good. Good. Thank y'all for hope y'all learned something. Good. Good. Let me figure out what my kid is. She been running around. I'll listen to you.
Oh, that's like Gonzalez. That's yours? I think so, yeah.
What you looking for? Tell me what you're looking for.
Let me get a picture with y'all.
You want to do that, grab the whole thing, because that's included or not.
You good? But she said she
Right. Did she fall?
Did you hear her? She said, I'm good. Did you hear her? She said, I'm good.
All you do put what's in the trash can.
Well, he brought those bags. He said he's gonna grab that stuff.
He said he couldn't.
He is gonna grab it.
Oh, the boxes and stuff?
So just collect the bottles that haven't been opened, and then this is it.
Is that your bag under the black briefcase bag?
John's.
That's John's? He didn't tell me that part. That's why I was like, how do you
It
get all
was here
this?
before I got here, and that stuff was set up. So.
That might not be his.
Really?
It might be IT's to go with this laptop. Because he didn't tell me.
Oh, that's not his laptop?
No.
Okay, well, that's what it's for.
Yeah, because he told me what bags to take, but not the laptop.
Where did Lori go? She might know about the laptop.
That's the one thing he told me not to take, so I ain't messing with it. Now, how in the world I'm gonna get all this stuff down?
Will it fit on the bottom of that court?
Huh?
Will it fit on the bottom of that court? Did you want this vegetarian cup?
Sure. This one's mine, so I was gonna take another one.
Yeah. They had two. So. Most people didn't say vegetarian, they was just saying like no pork.
Yeah. Do we have another card? I know, but I'm going to. I have to take all this and put it back down the floor.
How you doing?
Good, and you?
Well done. We had a ball.
They are hilariously well. I called them and was like, "You want to come to my school? They're doing mathematics holiday," and they're like, "Mom, I just woke up. I did all my work for the day, and I just got up. I'm like, yes,
Listen now.
Oh no, they gotta watch it when I get home.
Oh well, never mind.
So they, they think that they get over. Yeah. They think they get over.
This laptop.
Huh?
That's
I'm gonna need this. So the guy working here.
Okay.
So he had to go to a funeral. So I was like, okay.
Let me help you find another one of them sandwiches.
Okay. So we about to do it real funky like. And I'm about to use my jacket to hold equipment. Be resourceful, honey. That's about all I can do. We got, is that what that? Do you need a? That's all that little stuff is. Huh? I had a purple bag somewhere on that table. Where did it go? Oh, right here. Do you want to use this purple bag? Yes, please.
No, sir.
That would be exquisite, because I can put all these daggone cords in here. But we got cords and converters and stuff. So, where do you return the stuff back to? Of folks, if you ever do. Okay. I know that's not our mic. The mic probably goes with the IT stuff and the laptop, because I know we didn't bring our mics up. The only mic I brought up was for the camera. Thank you so much for letting me borrow your purple bag. Yes, ma'am. That is, I got everything now. And I'm a bug you. So whenever you go, I know, right? Yes, I will be on the panel. Okay. We'll have to get to work. We need that in the works too. You're right. We're working on it. That makes me happy. For real. That makes me happy. Have a great day. I will. I definitely will.